Hi guys. So today is March 14th, 2020, which means we're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, world crisis thing. Weird times, but essentially it means that alongside of myself, most of us are just staying inside and doing nothing. So I got out of the city, I'm out in Long Island right now, and I am revisiting one of my old videos that I never really finished because I didn't have time to, apparently. But this is the time that I took Swift Air's private Boeing 737-400 from Montana to Boston, Massachusetts. All right, so Swift Air is basically this private airline for, VIPs and large specialized groups that need to get from point A to point B as quickly and comfortably as possible. Most clients are big financial institutions doing mergers and acquisition stuff with large groups, professional sports teams, it says here on their Wikipedia page, NBA, NHL, NBL, all those guys are using these guys, and even presidential campaigns such as John McCain's 2008 presidential campaign used Swift Air. They operate about 33 Boeing 737s, some of them the 400 variant, some of them the 300 variant, some of them just a cargo variant, and then some newer 800 variants. So all 737s, which is really great domestic aircraft or for traveling. Most of the interiors, are swappable, just like any airline is swappable. And the configuration that I was in was basically a plane full of, like Delta's business class seats. What was cool though was by the emergency exits, instead of having seats, they had just open space on one side just to hang out. And on the other side, there was just a table of food before takeoff, after they put it back up, and they had, for in-flight, you could go and get refreshments. And then obviously at landing, they didn't put it back up because we got out and left as quickly as possible. But it's a really cool experience, and I guess the next thing to do is just go and join me in Montana, so let's go.
Okay, hello. Today, I'm going to fly like a professional athlete. Isn't that right, Lindsay?
Woohoo.
Woohoo. I'm flying on a Swift Air charter, which apparently is the same company that all the basketball teams and baseball teams use to get around, and we'll be flying on their VIP configuration 737. So yes. All right, cool, let's go.
One of the crazy things with this plane though is just the sheer ramp presence of it. Unlike your traditional airliner where you're going from a big terminal building into a small jetway into the small cabin of the plane, with this you're rolling up on the ramp to the plane. It has a massive ramp presence, especially compared to most of the smaller Citations and small private jets that are on there. There's just this massive 737, and it really leaves an impression. Even the people that handle private jets at the airport couldn't believe it. It was crazy.
Yeah, I told the lady that it was a 737. It looked like she about shit herself. What?
Unlike an airliner, again, you don't go through security in the terminal and then wait for check-in and boarding and everything. You just pull up with your car before departure time, you get on board, you sit down, and that's it, you just go. We did have a little bit of a wait because we were waiting for some of the other people to arrive from their cars and their places. So while we were waiting, we were able to enjoy the refreshment tables that I was talking about and just settle in. What was really nice is basically if you're flying as a couple or a family, you can sit together in the club seating areas or just sit next to each other in the regular seating areas. But for me, I was flying alone, and everybody else that was flying alone was able to have their own seat and their own row. So my seat next to me was completely empty, and same with everybody else on the plane. So it was very comfortable, spread out, very just private feeling. The entire food experience was amazing. They had a very clear preset menu with a couple different options, and all the food seemed very fresh. If it wasn't cooked, on the plane, it was clearly cooked very recently and then redone. I'd give the presentation a slightly lower grade because it didn't look, as perfect as it could, but the actual taste made up for all of that. It was an amazing dinner. Oh yeah, and then on top of all of this, they had real silverware, not plastic utensils. So one of the nice things with these private charters is when you're booking the flight, as I said before, you're going from point A to point B as quickly as possible. But what was unique on our flight is some of the people on the flight needed to get to New York City, not to Boston, which was my final destination. And if you were doing an airliner, that would mean that you have to land in New York City, get off the plane, then wait probably 2 hours for a connection, get on the second plane, and then fly to Boston. The nice thing with this is we just landed in New York City, or White Plains Airport, which is about 40 to an hour away from the city to the north, and just dropped them off. They all hopped in their cars and they went off to New York City, and about 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, we were back up in the air for the 45-minute flight back to Boston. So the flexibility in a charter such as Swift Air, really any type of private aircraft, is incredible, and just that ability, that makes the entire flight for some people.
There's about 35 degrees Fahrenheit. We were able to trim quite a bit of time off our flight. We're expecting a very early arrival. Once again, we'll have you on the ground in just about 25 to 30 minutes.
All right, so after we dropped off a bunch of people in White Plains, New York, we hopped over to Boston. Really quick, short flight. We landed at Bedford Airport, and just like in White Plains, I didn't take a picture, but it was just the same. All the cars were lined up for us. You hopped in your car, straight back home, and it was a piece of cake. The entire flight was exactly what it was hired to do. It was quick, luxurious, and it got us from point A to point B as fast and as comfortably as possible. So again, amazing flight, amazing food, amazing service, and thank you Swift Air for an amazing flight, and I look forward to flying with you guys again soon. Anyone that ever has the opportunity to do so, I absolutely recommend it. There's no better way to get from point A to point B as quickly and efficiently and comfortably as possible with that many seats. It's just an incredible experience. See you guys, and I guess we'll do another vlog very soon. See you.